Guys, so for today's video, I am finally going to film the full face of Kosas makeup that I've been talking about, I think, for months. So I've been kind of accumulating various products through sales and like BoxyCharm pop-up shops and that sort of thing. And in a way, it's worked out that I haven't filmed it before now because I did just get today the new Cloud Set Baked Setting and Smoothing Powder. So I will be incorporating this into my full face. I think I have, here I can show you. This is like a wine box, I think, from Costco. And I've kind of organized the products according to a different step or whatever. But I've basically collected one of each of the types of products they make. I don't have absolutely every shade or anything, but for the most part I have one of everything. So they don't have a huge line of products at the moment, so that was a little bit easier than it might be with some other brands. The only products I don't think I have, they have some sort of natural lipstick type product, and then they also have a lip balm that I don't have, but I think I have pretty much everything else. So I'll quickly go through everything and then I'll zoom in for the application. Oh, and I should also mention that some of these products I have tried before and some will be first impressions. So I have two shades of the Tinted Face Oil, 1 and 2, and I think I was able to get this through like a BoxyCharm pop-up or something like that, so I didn't have to pay full price. And I couldn't decide which shade was my shade, so I went ahead and got 2. So I think I've swatched these on my face to get an idea of the shade match, but I haven't done a full face application. Oh, and I should also mention I do have a sample card that has shades 3, 5.5, and 8.2. So I might swatch these as well so you get an idea of the shade range. Okay, so the next product I have here is the Kosas Revealer Concealer in the shade 1.5C. And they actually came out with new shades in this concealer line relatively recently. So I had gotten one of these sample cards before, and it does have the lightest shade. So it has shade 1 and then 3.5 and then 7.5 and 9.5. So I tried shade 1 before, and I think what a lot of people have mentioned with this concealer is that it does tend to run yellow in its shades. So this is shade 1.5, so it would be in between obviously 1 and 2, and then I think there's also a 0.5 shade, but I think this one was specifically labeled as cool or pink undertones, and because like I tried shade 1 before and seeing that on my face, I decided to go with one that was labeled cool as opposed to one that was labeled neutral. I think 0.5 is a neutral shade. So I have swatched this. I think I wore this under one eye as well, so we'll see how that looks once the full face is on. And then, as I mentioned, I have the Kosas Cloud Set, and this is the lightest shade. It is in the shade Airy, which they call a sheer porcelain shade. So I think for a setting powder, they did come out with a pretty impressive shade range. So that is what the shade looks like. And I think the next shade up looks fairly yellow. So I think that shade should work, hopefully. And then that is the same kind of vibe, I guess, as the bronzer. So the bronzer is in the shade Light Neutral Bronze. So I have worn this before. It's not my favorite bronzer, to be honest, and I think it leans a little warm on me for this time of year, but we'll go ahead and apply that. And then they have their 10-second eyeshadow, which I think has gotten like Allure Best of Beauty for 2020 or whatever. So these are the 10-second eyeshadows. This is a set of 3 that has Supreme, which is a warm glittery gold, Globe, which is a neutral champagne, and then Astronaut, which is a limited edition color. I think it might be exclusive to this set. and that is in Cool Shimmery Silver. So I did check earlier, and this is still available on their website if you're interested in trying a variety of different shades. And then I also got the shade Copper Halo. So I'm not sure. I'm leaning towards using Globe, but we'll see when we get down to it. So this is a warmer kind of dark copper shade. So that will be new as far as trying it out. I have a variety of different blushes. So they have both cream and powder blush formulas, and they're a cream and highlighter duo. So I actually have 3 of this 8th Muse High Intensity. And the reason I have 3 is because I bought this through a BoxyCharm pop-up. I forget how much I paid for it, but I thought I was purchasing like a powder product, and I think it was like mislabeled on the website or something, and so the like email confirmation was different from what was listed in on the website before you purchased it. So I guess tried a couple times, or I thought I was purchasing one of these in a cream and one of them in a powder. But stay tuned to the end of the video because I will be giving these away because I don't need 3, obviously, of the exact same product. So I probably will try this one out just because I am giving it away, so if you want to see what it looks like. The interesting thing about the Kosas products, and I think they do this in both the cream and the powder line, is that they have like the base shade, I guess you could call it, like it would just be 8th Muse, I guess. And then they also have a high intensity version. So that means it has more pigment. So if you have a deeper complexion or if you just want a bolder look, you can go for the high intensity variation. But I think I can still use this having fairly light skin, as you can see. They had pictures of a fair-skinned model wearing the high intensity version, so I think I can pull this off, hopefully. And then to show you the powder versions, obviously I can't wear all of these. I have the Contra Chroma in just the like base shade. And then I also have the Papaya 1972, which looks like that. So these have a mirror in the compact, and they're just like snap closures. And then finally, I do have one high intensity in the powder format, and that is the Longitude 0. And I might layer this over the cream because it has similar tones to it. I haven't decided though, so we'll keep that one in mind. Very bold blush look. Okay, so that was it for the cheek products. And then I do have their mascara. They only have one mascara, which I think they've come out with relatively recently. And this is like a deluxe sample size. This is the Big Clean Volumizing and Lash Care Mascara. So I'll be trying that. And then for lips, I have one of their Weightless lip colors. Okay, so maybe I have the Weightless formula, and there's another, I forget. But anyway, it's this black packaging, and I don't think I've tried this before. I got this as a like gift with purchase, I think around Black Friday. So like I said, I've been planning this video for a while. So I might try this lipstick. And then I also have this little trio set of their lip oils. And this is still available as well. So if you wanted to try out the formula before you committed to a full size, I will say that these are pretty tiny, so just be aware of that. And I have the shades here, Dip, Jellyfish, and Jaws, which is the red shade. So I really like this formula. And I also wanted to mention that in the FabFitFun spring box, if you're not familiar with FabFitFun, they do like a boost your box type thing where you can add additional items for a set price. And they had one that was 2 of the 10-second eyeshadows and 1 of the full-size lip oils, and I think it was a shade of the lip oil that I didn't have. There might be one repeat as far as the 10-second eyeshadows, but I think one of the shades is new, and then the lip oil I know is new. So I really do like that formula. Okay, so I think that's it as far as kind of the overview. So we'll go ahead and zoom you guys in. Okay, so as you can see, I have a spot on my nose that I picked at. So, you know, I guess that's good for a foundation review. Okay, so this product, I think this was another Allure Best of Beauty winner. It seems to be a little polarizing. And I saw Glitter Fallout just upload a video about Kosas products where she tried this, and then I know Karen Harris has spoken of this pretty highly. I think I remember Karen Harris saying that she prefers this in the summer because I don't know exactly what her skin type is, but I think Glitter Fallout said that it clung to like dry patches and everything. And I do have drier skin or dry skin, so we'll see kind of how this does. I did apply my skincare not too long ago, so that may kind of help out. I didn't go in with the Glossier Future Dew, which I frequently do with foundations, but I do want to try this on its own. So the back of the box says shake well before applying, so it's a very liquidy formula. And it says makeup meets skincare. Radiance boosting botanicals absorb, allowing skin perfecting pigment to even and illuminate complexions. Shake well, then gently blend 2 to 4 drops into skin using fingertips. So I guess I'll try it with my hands. I did dampen a beauty blender just to be safe, and of course I have a brush. I think I will go ahead and apply my corrector because I usually do that before foundation, and I want to, I guess, evaluate the concealer with a corrector underneath it because obviously with my skin tone you can see these dark circles, so I like to kind of take that extra step. So go ahead and apply this. I'm using the Charlotte Tilbury corrector because Kosas doesn't make one. All right, so give these a good shake. And I guess I'll swatch shade 1. I think I just saw one of these in the Ipsy pop-up. Not pop-up, whatever their shop is called. So I'm not sure if it's full size or not, but if you are curious about the product, I have to make sure to keep my hand kind of mostly level because I'll make sure I'm in frame. It is very liquidy, as you can see. And this is shade 1, and the more yellow shade is shade 2, as it's running off my hand. So I'm not sure which one is going to be better. Okay, so I guess we'll do 1 on my ring finger, 2 on my middle finger. I'm kind of leaning towards 1. This one right here. I think that's blending a little bit more. I think for the most part I would say my skin is neutral, but I think it would be neutral leaning cool. So they describe tone 1 as porcelain with cool undertones and tone 2 as porcelain with neutral undertones. And then tone 3 is fair with cool undertones, and then 3.5 is fair light, and they have 16 shades altogether, I think. Okay, so let's do shade 1. Maybe I can use shade 2 in the summer, maybe. Okay. So I guess it's good to keep in mind if a foundation line tends to skew a certain direction. Like they do tend to skew more, oh, I should have done half my face. Okay, maybe I'll just insert some footage so you can see the difference. But yeah, if they do tend to skew more yellow tone, like I think of NARS as skewing a little yellow. If they label a shade cool and you maybe look for a neutral shade, but you know that they're kind of, I guess, biased in a way towards the more yellow side of things, then maybe you want to overcorrect and kind of go for a cool shade, if that makes sense. Okay, so I think that blended in really nicely. I mean, it's very light coverage. I don't think I had any like huge dry spots or anything. Again, I'll do a side by side so you can kind of maybe see the coverage difference. Yeah, it's not a ton of coverage for sure. But from what I've seen of the concealer, you can kind of spot correct and do that sort of thing. So I think I like how that looks actually. And again, I have dry skin and I do try to take steps to make sure it's, you know, moisturized well and do all the exfoliation and all that, but so far so good. Okay, so I'm gonna do my brows really quick. Again, I'm just kind of interspersing my normal routine. So I'm just gonna use the Benefit Gimme Brow in the shade 1. All right, time for the concealer. So I really kind of hemmed and hawed over what shade to get. So, got the shade 1.5, which I think is a good shade match for my face. I don't think it's super brightening. So, you can let me know what you think. All right, I'm just gonna kind of go down. Just do a little of kind of spot correcting. I know a lot of people really like this concealer. But for the kind of level of coverage that you get from the foundation, it's kind of surprising that you get as much coverage as you do out of the concealer, I think. So it blends in easily with the finger. Which I think kind of fits the overall brand, you know? Okay, so there we have the concealer. That's how it's looking right now. Obviously, I am going to use a brush for the powder. Okay, so the powder, like I said, is in shade Airy, which is the lightest shade. I'm going to use my normal Real Techniques brush. So a little bit of kind of kick up. I don't know if it's going to focus. Okay. Okay, so I messed up a little bit because normally I try to If I'm using cream blush, I try to powder after, but I got a little carried away. But I feel like this powder is very forgiving. It's not looking cakey or dry. Like, I think it definitely helps take off some of the shine, but there's still plenty of like glow to my skin. Okay, so far so good. All right, so the next product, as I mentioned, is the cream blush and highlighter. So I think I'll try this with my fingers first. So there is a pink blush, which hopefully this isn't going to be difficult to to blend out. Okay, so normally I just try to lightly dot it and then take my fingers and just kind of tap over it. So this is what Kate the Great would call aspen cheeks. I think it blends in pretty well though. So I would say if you are using the high intensity version, just kind of start small and blend. But I don't think that's too much for me. If you do feel like you went too far, you can, we didn't use a sponge or a foundation brush, but you can go over your cheeks with that brush or sponge that has maybe a little bit of foundation on it to kind of diffuse it a little bit. Okay, so I think that's a pretty color. I think I'll skip contour. Normally I use the Fenty contour stick, which is another cream product, but I guess the whole vibe of this makeup line is just a little bit more natural, so I'm just going to kind of go with the less defined look, I guess. Okay, so going in then with my finger into the highlighter. Hopefully this isn't too dark. I'm not sure this is like the most impactful. I might go over this with a powder. I feel like the rest of my skin is kind of glowy enough that it's not really reading as like any kind of sheen or anything. At least to me. I don't know what you guys think. All right, so I'll go ahead and swatch those. They feel, the highlighter especially, the blush is a little stiffer, but they do kind of, oh, I'm not in frame, but they do kind of have more of a, I almost want to say oily, like a very emollient texture to them. You get a little bit more of the, and again, this is the high intensity cream formula. So that is what the blush and the highlight look like on my hand. And this is the product that I have multiples of that I'll be giving away. So I think I'll do swatches at the end. So if you want to see kind of comparisons of the different shades, then I think I'll save that for the end. So the next product I'll try out is this Longitude Zero Pressed Highlighter and Blush. And I think I'll try the highlighter first. So make sure my skin is mostly dry. Okay, so they're very similar really in tone to the cream ones I just tried, and again, this highlighter shade might be a little dark for me, but I think the high intensity kind of formula is meant to... All right, so that got a lot of kick up with my A23 brush. I don't know if you can see that. I think the A23 brush is meant to... Yeah, that looks way too dark. I wonder if I can just kind of brush that away. All right, so maybe this is more like a blush topper, if anything. All right, so yeah, I don't think this product is meant for me, which is totally fine. Just kind of sweeping over that, blend it into the cheek. I'll do the same on the other side, just to kind of even it out. Okay, all right, so I did want to mention also that I think the 8th Muse cream, high intensity cream compact is on the BoxyCharm pop-up now for I think $6. So if you are a BoxyCharm member and you either don't want to try to win it from me or you don't win, or you don't think you'll win, then you can try it out there. All right, so I'm gonna go in with the Contra Chroma, just because it looks like the most neutral duo. I'm gonna go in with the highlight. Again, this brush kind of kicks up. See if... I would think Kosas is kind of the brand that would do a like cream highlighter. I mean, again, I guess you don't need a super glowy highlighter if the rest of the skin is so glowy, but you know, just a thought. Okay, so I think I'll stop with the blush. The next product, I think, is the bronzer. So, like I said, this isn't my favorite bronzer. I do really like the packaging. I think it's really beautiful, but it's just a tad kind of more golden than I like. Because I'm more neutral to cool, I just like a more neutral kind of bronzer. All right, so using my Referral number 22 brush, just try to use a light hand. I think I already have kind of a heavy cheek here, but all right, so I think that actually, maybe my application skills have improved. I think that actually looks a bit better than I remember it looking. I'm gonna go in with some more powder. So I think I'm gonna use the same brush. I just feel like I'm still looking a little more kind of radiant. So we'll see kind of how much we can mattify. And at least on this brush, which is like a synthetic fiber that's meant to mimic natural hair, it's not picking up like a lot. So it doesn't feel like super creamy or anything. I think they kind of market this as like a more hydrating type product. It says an ultra soft sheer setting and smoothing powder baked with skincare actives that helps minimize shine and the appearance of pores. Unique airy texture gives an unreal finish that feels like nothing on skin. All right, so far I'm kind of impressed with this. Again, you can see like my face is still really glowy. So if you are of the dry skin persuasion and you're worried that a setting powder will dry you out or look cakey, I think this one is worth trying. You know, the concealer is looking good. Like, I used it to set and it's not looking cakey or creasy or anything. Okay. So I think the next step is the eyeshadow, and I'm not sure whether to use a primer or not. I normally use one with powder shadows, but given the kind of very liquidy type of texture, I'm not sure that's the best approach. So these are the 3 that come in that kit, and this one is the one that's called Globe. So again, I think you're supposed to shake these. Yeah, shake well. To apply, hold upright, sweep over clean, dry lids, and blend with finger, doe foot, or eyeshadow brush to desired color. Store horizontal for optimal application. That's interesting. Close cap tightly after each use. Okay, so this one looks warmer than it does kind of on the website. So I'm not sure if the 10-second is like the, oh, this is much warmer than I thought it was. I'm not sure if it's like the amount of time you have to work with it, or it's just supposed to be so easy that it only takes 10 minutes. Okay. Yeah, I think this is another one that is like an Allure best of winner. Okay, I think that's a really pretty like one and done type look. I might try to build that to see how it does. Super liquidy though, much more than like a lot of other cream. I'm just using this, what is it called? Complex Culture. I like having synthetic brushes for this type of product, like cream eye product. Cream or liquid, I guess. Okay, so that is one layer. I wonder if I can get some below the lash line. Yeah, I think I like it built up a little bit more. But so far, I mean, for something this liquidy, I'm impressed that it's not like creasing all over the place. Now I'm just trying to kind of even it out. Yeah, I think a brush is really helpful. I think you could use your finger depending on how precise you want it to be. My eyes are a little like smaller and hooded, so I find sometimes it's just difficult to kind of get your finger in there. Just a tad more over there. All right, so that's it. They don't have any eyeliner. So I think I'll go ahead and try out this Fenty Fly Pencil in the shade Puppy Eyes. I haven't tried this formula before. I do like this kind of like triangular shape to it. I think it makes it kind of easy to hold, which is nice. All right, I think I need a little bit more. So I wouldn't say this is the creamiest eyeliner I've ever used, but I think it does the job. Usually I go over with a little angled brush. I don't know if it's necessary, but okay. All right, so the mascara is next. And I always curl my lashes. So I have pretty straight, long lashes. This cracks me up. Look at how little that is. Normally I'll curl my lashes and then use waterproof mascara. So actually, before I do that, I'll apply this to my bottom lashes. Look, the brush is like basically the entire tube. I don't know if you can see that. Okay. Alright, so this isn't kind of the ideal. A lot of times I'll just use the Clinique bottom lash because it has a very small little brush. It does seem to be a drier formula. And then curling the top lashes. I do like this kind of natural brush. And I think they also sell a travel, like half size, so if you don't want to commit to a full tube. I think the travel size would be bigger than this. It has an interesting scent to it. I'm not sure what it is. Alright, so, okay, before I completely go in, that's one coat. Okay. I think for not being waterproof, I think it's helpful that it is drier, because I think, I mean, you think about curling your hair, right? Like, you curl it and then it gets rained on and it kind of goes limp. So I think that kind of also applies to mascaras. Okay, so I don't think I'm getting quite as much volume as my Tarte Lights Camera Splashes, and you know, my lashes might have dropped a tiny bit more. I don't hate it. I think if you like kind of a middle ground between like a very defining mascara and a volumizing one, this might be a good option. Because I don't think it's getting like overly clumpy, but it is building. I think there's some additional length too. Okay, and again, this is just a deluxe sample, so you know, you can take that with a grain of salt if you wish. Okay, so I think it's just lips. Oh, and I have one wild card that I haven't talked about. Okay, so I'm just gonna go in with this lipstick. This is in the shade Fringe, which I think they describe as a reddish brown. I have a little bit of lip balm, I think, hanging around. Very creamy. I don't think it smells like anything. And this wouldn't have been probably my first choice in shades, but it was a gift with purchase, so. And usually I would use a lip liner with a darker shade, but just wanted you to get the kind of true color. So I don't think that's a terrible combination with the eye look and everything. Okay, so what does the box say on this one? Okay, it says Visionary Lip Color, masterfully blended for weightless wearability. Oh, and it says wipe lips bare to ensure optimal coverage. So if you want as much like opacity as possible, then make sure you don't have any lip balm or anything on your lips. Okay, so I think that's really it, aside from the lip oils. So I think I might just dab a bit. My favorite shade of the three that I have is called Dip, which is kind of a mauve-y shade. So that is what it looks like. I don't think like this lipstick needs any sort of extra hydration or anything, but just to give you an idea. All right, so that is the final look. Let me take down my hair. All right, so I think that's as much of a close-up as I can give you guys. All right, so I am going to do some swatches now, and then I'll be back for my final thoughts. Okay, so those are the swatches of the Tinted Face Oil, and from left to right, so from closest to my wrist down to my elbow, I have shades 1, which is Porcelain Cool, 2, which is Porcelain Neutral, 3, which is Fair Cool, and I should mention the last 3 are all from the little packet samples, and I'm not sure that I kind of mixed up 3 as well as I could have before I opened it, so just be aware of that. So that was 3 Fair Cool. The next to last is 5.5, which is Medium Olive. And then the last one is 8.2, which is Deep Neutral. The last 2, I don't know if it's a function of how well I was able to kind of shake it up in the packet, or if I didn't shake it well enough. The last two don't seem to be quite as oily, I guess. Like they seem to be a lot more kind of set. So I don't know if that's a function of having more pigment, or again, just a function of it being a sample. But those are the 5 shades I can swatch for you. All right, and then those are the shades of the Revealer Concealer. From left to right, we have Tone 1, which used to be the lightest shade. Next we have 1.5, which is the shade I purchased, which is one of the newer shades. Next up is Tone 3.5 in the middle. The next one is 7.5. And the last one is 9.5. And the deepest shade is shade 10, at least on the card. I'm not sure if they came out with a deeper shade in the shade expansion. Okay, so for the powder, I don't have any other shades to swatch for you. As I said, this is the lightest shade, and it doesn't really show up on my skin. Maybe a tad. So, and I meant to mention when I was swatching the face oil and the concealer, some good foundation shade matches for me are the ColourPop Pretty Fresh Hydrating Foundation in Fair 20N and the, what is it called? Reboot Foundation from Makeup Forever in R208. And I recently just purchased, I haven't tried this yet, but based on their recommendations, I have the Pure 4-in-1 Love Your Selfie in LN2, which looks like that in the bottle anyway. So just to give you some sense, I used to wear the NARS Creamy Concealer in, I think it was Vanilla and maybe Chantilly. And I also have the Soft Matte Complete Concealer in the shade Light 2 Vanilla as more of like a face match. So just to give you an idea. All right, again, with the bronzer, I don't have any other shades. This one should show up a bit better. Definitely has a sheen to it, so if you don't like any kind of radiance in your bronzer, that's probably not one that you want to look into. Okay, so those are the 10-second eyeshadows I have. So the far left one is the shade Copper Halo, which is one of the kind of standalone shades. The last 3 are all part of that set. So the second one is the one I'm wearing. That is the shade Globe. The next one is the silver. That's called Astronaut. And then the last one is called Supreme. So I think the second and fourth ones are also available individually, but the silver one is, I think, unique to the set. One interesting thing to note is that the first 2 are much more opaque. I tried to make sure I shook them enough, but I did end up going over the Astronaut and Supreme shades because I feel like they're just not completely opaque or consistent, so just something to note there. All right, to give that other arm a break, these are the blush and highlighter duos. So from, again, left to right, starting with my elbow, we have the 8th Muse Intensity Cream Blush and Highlight, and the next one over is the Longitude Zero Pressed Powder blush and highlight in the High Intensity. And then the next duo here is the Contra Chroma Color and Light Pressed in the, I guess, regular variation. And then finally at the very end towards my wrist is the Papaya 1972 Color and Light Pressed. And like I said, the high intensity highlighters just may not really suit me. I am interested in trying out the pressed regular variation at another time, just to kind of see how they work by themselves without everything else underneath them. But as you can see, there's definitely a good amount of pigment with some of those shades. All right, so I'll give you a close-up of the mascara wand, which I think is all I can really do in terms of swatching a mascara. And then the last thing to swatch here are the lip products. So the lipstick is like so. And then the 3 lip oils, the shade Jellyfish is basically just clear. And then Dip, which is the more kind of neutral mauve shade. And then finally the shade Jaws, which is a red. So those are the lip products. Okay, so there's one more product I have from Kosas that I haven't mentioned yet, and that is the Kosas Sport deodorant. So the full name is the Kosas Sport Supreme Clean Chemistry AHA Serum Deodorant. So this is 2.4 fluid ounce, I think. And I think they have 2 different variations of this. So Serene Clean is like a scented version, and they also have an unscented version. And basically it's like a roller ball with a tube. So it's very, my poor skin is gonna be very upset at me. But basically it's very, very liquidy. So, oop, a lot came out there. But yeah, it's very liquidy, and this is, I think, a natural deodorant, so it doesn't have any aluminum, if that's a concern to you. Instead of like baking soda or some of the other things that natural deodorants use, this has AHA, which is alpha hydroxy acid, which is a common skincare ingredient that you use as like a chemical exfoliant for your face. And it says clean, stain-free serum deodorant. Features a unique AHA blend for the ultimate odor-fighting treatment. It says it soothes skin and visibly brightens. So I got this in part or mostly because I think, I don't know, due to my skin tone or whatever, I always struggle with having kind of like darker underarms that I'm trying to combat. So a lot of times I will use for like a normal deodorant, conventional, traditional, whatever. I have the Dove Even Tone deodorant and antiperspirant. So it says helps restore skin's natural tone. And this has like the aluminum as the active ingredient. I don't see any AHAs on here, I don't think. It looks like there might be niacinamide. So I'm not sure exactly what is doing the, lightening or whatever. As far as, I guess, the functionality of this deodorant, I think it does help improve the tone of my underarms. I wouldn't rely on this if I knew I was going to be out and about and really active as like it's not an antiperspirant, so it's not going to keep you from sweating. So just keep that in mind. I do like this product. I use it not every time, but fairly frequently. So if that is a concern to you and you're not, if you're into natural deodorants, you're probably not too concerned about antiperspirants, because I don't think natural deodorants can be antiperspirants. I don't know correct me if I'm wrong, but all that's to say that I think this is worth looking into. I'm, pretty happy that I have it. Okay, so what do I think about everything else? So I like the face oil, to be honest. Like, I was kind of anxious about it because it's gotten kind of mixed reviews and people had said, oh, I like it in the summer, it doesn't work well for dry skin. I didn't have any kind of huge flaky bits or anything on my skin. I mean, a little bit here on my nose, but I mean, I think any makeup that goes over that is going to look a little, you know, different. And I think what's doing most of the heavy lifting on my nose is the concealer. So yeah, so I like it. And I think shade 1 or tone 1 is probably the better match for me. So I guess the next product is the concealer. And again, I think it was a good match. It has a good amount of coverage. It's not like creasing or anything. And I did use the corrector underneath, but I normally use a corrector. So I try to kind of have the baseline so I can evaluate it properly. But yeah, I like the concealer, and I'm glad they came out with additional shades because I know a lot of people felt like the range leaned yellow. And so for the powder, the new product, I like it. It's not looking cakey. I think, you know, I used it underneath my eyes and they look very nice and fresh, not dry or anything. I might even try like a heavier application next time, like trying a different brush, because I feel like it's not easy to overdo it, if that makes sense. So if you are more oily or even combination, if you're looking for a super mattifying powder, I don't know if this is it. So I don't have sort of super large pores or anything. Mostly what I use a powder for is to set my under eyes and to kind of take down any shine as needed. So yeah, I think it's definitely, you know, a good addition to their line. The bronzer, which I've tried before, again, I don't know if my application improved. I think the first time I tried it, I just felt like I had a strip of like orange across my forehead, but you know, maybe I was just a little bit more gentler with it. So yeah, and that was a product I already had, so it wasn't, you know, something I went out and bought recently. For the eyeshadow, so you saw those 2 shades swatch that were more opaque, and I used one of those. So I'm not sure if I used the other ones, if I'd feel the same way, but overall, it's such a weird and unique product, but I'm pretty impressed with it. It's not creasing, and normally I always wear an eyeshadow primer because my eyeshadow creases. I don't know why the rest of my skin is dry and my eyelids are like oily or whatever, but yeah, it's only been obviously a few minutes, but yeah, it's an interesting product. So I'd say, you know, it's worth trying. I know I saw some of the shades on sale in this for sale section recently, and they may pop up on other like flash sale sites like FabFitFun's add-ons or BoxyCharm or whatever, maybe Ipsy, I don't know. But yeah, I think it's worth trying, and I think I do like this shade. I'm not usually kind of a one and done type eyeshadow girl, but I think this is really pretty. The mascara I think is nice. It's not the worst and it's not the best. Maybe I'd feel a little bit differently if I had the full tube, because it's always a little difficult to kind of get in there with a small sample. But so far so good. I mean, it doesn't look like it's flaking. It didn't clump or anything on me. So yeah, if you want kind of, you know, a nice kind of middle of the road mascara, I think this is a good one. All right, so I think if anything were a fail, it would probably be the cheek products. And that's partly just due to the shades I picked, I think. I was kind of limited by what shades were available in, I think, the Boxy pop-up store. So the 8th Muse, the one that I had to give away, I like the blush. I think it looks really nice. The highlighter I think was just too dark, which totally fine, get it, it's not a big deal. I'll just keep that in mind for the future and how I apply it. Same with the Longitude Zero High Intensity. I think the highlighter just wasn't suited for my skin tone, which again is really fine. I look forward to trying the other two, the Contour Chroma and the Papaya 1972. So I'll let you know if I have any updates for that one. But yeah, I would be interested in trying those kind of separately, not on top of like the cream products. So I think the last thing is just the lip color. And Again, it's maybe not the color I would have picked for myself, but it was, you know, a gift with purchase, so I was kind of limited in what I could pick. It's very nice feeling, and they really emphasize the whole kind of weightless texture type feel. And I think on the whole, like, I feel very comfortable with this makeup. I don't feel like I'm wearing a lot or my skin is like suffocating or anything like that. So yeah, so that's, you know, a nice lipstick. And the lip oils I had tried before, and I really do enjoy the formula, so I will be happy to get another shade when that comes in from my FabFitFun box. Alright guys, so I think that is it. I think I did as thorough a job of covering the Kosas makeup line as I could, including some new shades in their concealer line and the new baked powder that they just released recently. So I hope you guys found that helpful. For the giveaway, I will include all the details in the info box down below, but make sure you are subscribed to my channel. Leave me a way to get in touch with you. I would prefer Instagram because I would just rather you not put your email address on a public website like that, but if you don't have Instagram, just give me a way to get in touch with you. It could be Twitter if that works for you. And leave a comment letting me know either what your favorite Kosas product is that you've tried, or what product you would be most interested in trying. I hope you guys found that helpful. Please do subscribe if you haven't already. I hope you guys are all staying very safe and healthy out there, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.